Hello guys, myself Nishu Arma. So today we learn about the body fluid part 3 in the discipline of physiology. So in previous couple video we learned about the four topic from the learning outcome, and now we have to learn topic number 5 is the Darrow-Yannet diagram. So I start my video here. So why we have to learn this diagram, Darrow-Yannet diagram, is for the better understanding how volume and the osmolarity of ECF and ICF is going to change in abnormal condition. So through this diagram, we have learned the relation between the osmolarity and the volume of ECF and ICF better. So that's why we have to learn this Darrow-Yannet diagram. So as we go further, we have to learn from, we have to remind from our the elementary classes or about the cell membrane. There is a quality of the cell membrane. It is very permeable for the water, and the water move very rapidly from the cell membrane. As we take the cell, this is the ICF intracellular fluid, and there is the ECF extracellular fluid, and the water moves freely inside and outside from the cell membrane. This outflow or inflow will reflect in the volume. When the volume going to change, then it also impact on the osmolarity and the osmolarity of these compartments. And the second is the completely this cell membrane is completely impermeable to many of the solute. How it mean? It means that the cell membrane is completely impermeable for the many of the solute. So we can consider it like that the number of osmoles in ECF or the ICF is remains same until the solute will be lost or gained by the ECF, because cell membrane is not permeable to the solute, so solute will be lost or gained from the ECF. And when the ECF volume or the osmolarity changes, then it reflects in the volume or the osmolarity of the ICF, as we discuss in further slides, in next slides. So this is the Darrow-Yannet diagram in the normal control state, and here the x-axis is for the osmolarity, or we can say osmolality, or we can say concentration of the solute particles here, and the y-axis is for the volume, shown here, volume of ICF and the ECF, and why this ICF volume is greater than the ECF. So in previous lectures and the previous videos, we learned that the ICF volume is equal to the 2/3 of the total body water, and whereas the ECF volume, ECF is equal to the 1/3 of the total body water. That's why the ICF volume is greater than the ECF. And whenever whenever any solution is added or lost from the body, from our body from our body, it going to change the ACF volume or the osmolality or the concentration of solute. Here I can written osmolality, or both volume and osmolarity both. Is it totally depends on the type of solution is given in question, and the patient facing the type of solution in his or her body. Like the three type of solution here, the first is the isotonic, and the hypotonic, and the hypertonic. So in next video we're going to learn what happen when the isotonic solution is gained or lost from the body, and these three gain or lost from the body. So for the further understanding more clearly, we have to know that the ICF volume varies. ICF volume varies with ECF osmolality. Osmolality. When the ECF osmolality going to change, then this will be impact on the ICF volume, and the ICF osmolarity is inversely proportional to the volume. Like that, when the volume is going to increase, then the osmolarity of ICF will be decreases. So I hope you guys understand this slide. So our next, what happens when the isotonic fluid is gained or lost from our body? What will be the change? And this is the normal state Darrow-Johannes diagram. And here for the further slide, if there is change in the ECF and the ICF volume or osmolarity, then I will show a dotted line here. For your better understanding, the dotted line, it means the change in the volume and the osmolarity. I will dictate in further videos. So basically, there the first when we take isotonic solution, a gain or loss, then what happen when the isotonic solution gain in our body? So when the isotonic solution will be come inside the body, then obviously ECF volume going to increases. ECF volume will be increases, and because of the isotonic solution, this is isotonic, then this osmolarity of the ICF will be no change, because solution is the isotonic, there is no change. And when we dealing with the ICF volume also, because the osmolarity is same, because the solution is isotonic, then the osmolarity is same. So no change in the osmolarity. If no change in the osmolarity, then there is also in ICF volume there is no change. No change. So in isotonic fluid gain, there is only increase in the volume of ECF, and further no change in the osmolarity of the ECF and the volume of ICF and the osmolarity of ICF. Uh, for this gain of isotonic fluid, example is the isotonic infusion of NaCl, and here the diagram will be like that. Because the ICF volume going to increase and osmolarity remains same, then the diagram is same, osmolarity same, but the volume of the ECF going to increases, will be like that. Now we are going to discuss isotonic fluid loss. Let's see what occur in the body when the isotonic fluid loss from our body. So isotonic fluid loss will occur from the ECF compartment, then the ECF compartment volume will decrease, and because of isotonic solution, so there is no change in osmolarity, no change, and we know solution is isotonic, then no change in ECF compartment osmolarity. And if the osmolarity is same, then volume is same after the isotonic fluid loss, so no change in volume. And here the example for this is hemorrhage, diarrhea, and vomiting. So our graph will be like that: decrease in volume of ECF compartment, so volume is decreased, and there is no change in the osmolarity of ECF, and ICF, and ICF volume is same. So new graph will be like this. For your better understanding, I would like to say, if the osmolarity of ECF going to change, if the if the osmolarity of ECF will change, then the water shift will be occur either from the ECF compartment to ICF compartment, or the ICF compartment to the ECF compartment, until the new equilibrium will reach. So here osmolarity is same because of isotonic solution. So such type of case not occur here. We will discuss in hypotonic and hypertonic solution this type of shifting. Next is the hypotonic fluid gain and loss. When we're dealing with the hypotonic fluid gain, then when the hypotonic solution will be came inside the ECF, then the ECF volume is going to increase, and because the solution is hypotonic, then the final osmolarity of the ECF is going to decrease. And when the osmolarity is decreased, then the water is starts shifting from the ECF to ICF, ECF to ICF via osmosis. And when this osmosis will occur, then the ICF volume is going to increase, and there is the only shift of the water from the ICF compartment to ECF compartment to ICF, and the osmolarity of ICF will be reduced until the new equilibrium will be reached. Because solution is hypotonic, that's why the osmolarity of ICF volume is going to decrease in the case of gain. In the case of gain, ICF volume is decreases. For example of the hypotonic loss is the syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. Syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion, or we can say SIADH. I written here properly. SIADH. Syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone secretion, or the drinking of tap water. Drinking of tap water. And the final graph in the gain of the hypotonic fluid will be, because there is an increment of both volume ICF and ECF, then the volume of both side will going to increase, and osmolarity in both cases is decreases, then the osmolarity is going to decrease in both of the compartments. So when the hypotonic solution gain, then it will be increase the volume of ECF, and because it solution is the hypotonic, then it decrease the osmolarity of ECF, and when the osmolarity is decreased in the ECF compartment, then the water through the osmosis came into the ICF compartment, that will be increased in the volume of ICF compartment, and the solution will be hypotonic, and the for we can understand there is a more water, then the osmolarity will be decreases in the ICF compartment also. And there is some example, and when saying the hypotonic fluid loss from the body, so in that particular in when in the that particular case, when the hypotonic solution going to loss, then the volume of the ECF will be decreases, and the volume, when the volume is decreases, then the osmolarity of the ECF compartment is going to increase because volume is decreases. And when the osmolarity is going to increase, then the water is shifted from ICF compartment to ICF to ECF through the osmosis, which decrease the volume of ICF. And we know from the concept, when the concentration ICF osmolarity is inversely proportional to the volume. From here, when the volume going to increases, then the osmolarity of ICF is decreased. So what happened here? The volume of ICF is decreased, so osmolarity of ICF will be increased here. For example, this is the case of sweating, and it is the case in the case of diabetes insipidus, and what we here, then the osmolarity in both cases is going to increase. Osmolarity in both cases increases. It means osmolarity in both cases is going to increase, and the volume in both cases going to decrease. So here will be, this will be the new graph for the this hypotonic fluid loss. And third and last case is, sorry, it is the third and last when we're taking hypertonic solution or the fluid. When the what happened when the gain and loss of the hypertonic solution, when the hypotonic solution gain, when we seeing the gain of the hypotonic solution, when the gain in hypotonic solution, it will be increase the ECF volume, and the obviously solution is the hypertonic, it means it also increase the osmolarity of the ECF. And when the osmolarity of ECF increases, then the water came from ICF to ECF through osmosis. It means ICF volume will decrease. When the water will be lost from ICF compartment, then the volume is going to decrease, and when the volume is decreased, then the osmolarity is increased, as we know. And for gain, we can take an example of excessive NaCl intake, or mannitol. So here the Daroinit diagram will be like that. The ICF volume is going to increases, and the osmolarity also going to increases. It means it will be like this. Volume is increases, osmolarity is increases, and the ICF volume is decreased. It means ICF volume is decreased. It means like that. Now when we deal with the hypertonic fluid loss, then the hypertonic fluid loss from the ECF compartment. So the ECF compartment volume will decrease, and because of hypertonic solution will lost from the ECF compartment, then the osmolarity of ECF compartment will also going to decrease. And when the osmolarity is decreased in ECF compartment, then the water shift will be occur from the ECF compartment to ICF compartment. From ECF to ICF, it means the ICF volume will increases. As we know, when the ICF volume will increase, then the osmolarity will decrease. And here example is the adrenocortical insufficiency. And here the example is adrenocortical insufficiency. So our new graph will be like that. Decrease in ECF volume and decrease in osmolarity in both decrease, so the osmolarity will decrease in both compartment, and ACF compartment volume will decrease and increase in the ICF compartment volume. So like this. Thanks for your kind attention. I hope you guys like it.